Hi, everyone. This is Listen Up PR, the podcast where we dive into the latest trends and issues in the world of public relations. I am your AI assistant, and today we're going to listen to an interesting discussion on a topic that's on the minds of many PR professionals: the impact of AI on the PR industry. So now let's go live to our host, Sandra Reeve-John, at the local coffee shop.
Hi everyone, this is Sandra, and thank you, AI host, for the lovely introduction. Since the launch of ChatGPT in November 2022, the world has seen a significant shift in how AI is being used to shape conversations and influence public opinion. From content creation to social media monitoring, AI is transforming the PR landscape at an unprecedented pace. So, what does this mean for PR practitioners, and how can they harness the power of AI? Today, we will be speaking to two experts in the field to answer these questions and more. So sit back, grab a cup of coffee, and get ready to listen up to this exciting conversation. The first guest for today is Stephen Waddington. Stephen is a business advisor who helps organizations with planning, strategic decision making, and execution. He is also the founder and managing director of Watts Inc. Stephen is currently a PhD student at Leeds Beckett University. So, Stephen, you recently co-authored a report which was published by CIPR on AI tools and the impact on public relations practice. And the report discusses a variety of topics such as generative AI application, ethical and legal implications of AI, so on and so forth. So, my first question to you is, with the rapid growth of generative AI like ChatGPT, what do you think is the biggest challenge and opportunity for the PR industry?
If we're talking specifically about ChatGPT, then the potential is for it to generate text and content. And that can be anything from a tweet or a statement right the way through to long form articles, white papers, and so forth. With that, though, you get challenges because it's based on a data set. The data set is, if I'm correct, 45 gigabytes of content that's come from Wikipedia, it's come from the web, it's come from Google Books. And, there's a limitation in the volume of content and the type of content that it's able to synthesize. So it works on the basis of predictive text. So you might have used on Google Autocomplete or Gmail these features where you'll type in a word or a sentence or a phrase and Google will try and complete it for you. These technologies work in exactly the same. If they haven't got access within the data set information related to the topic you're asking for, they'll very quickly start to make things up. Very good example of this is very early on, I asked ChatGPT to create a bio for myself and it got the first paragraph right, but then it started generating content from, other white male people, my sort of generation, and they started to get it completely wrong. So they make stuff up, and therein lies a challenge related to ethics, related to bias, related to misinformation. So huge opportunity, but then also huge challenges as well. One of the other, you're talking about generative AI. I think one of the most interesting applications is potentially reductive AI, actually, where you provide a piece of content yourself tool that will then extract key content from it, key issues, key themes, and so forth, and make sense in it that way. And it is ChatGPT in reverse. I think that is equally as exciting in its potential application as generative AI.
So, you were just talking about the ethical and legal issues surrounding AI. How prepared do you think the PR industry is to understand AI and its impact on the client's image and reputation?
So, Sandra, it's not at all. AI has been around in the public sphere for about 10 years. We've suddenly become very aware of it because of ChatGPT. And the reason we have is because OpenAI launched this tool, ChatGPT, via a web browser that anyone can access and use similarly, as you'd use a search engine. This technology has been around for about 10 years, and we haven't, as a discipline, figured out the ethical issues of it during that time. So, when we suddenly have this moment of awakening, I I would describe it exactly as that. When this new tool comes around, we're wholly unprepared for it. Some of the risks and issues, the artificial intelligence has pricked the public consciousness when, it has gone rogue, it's been found to be biased, it's made bad decisions, and all of these factors are issues related to where public relations practice could take a perspective and advise management, but we're just not there. We're not ready at all.
Right. So, since the PR industry is wholly unprepared for the fast advancement of AI, there's also this another potential risk, which is the dissemination of misinformation and disinformation. And from the industry's perspective, how can we counter this potential danger?
We now have the ability for machines to create, publish content way beyond the scale that we've had with social media. And that's absolutely terrifying. How do we get around it? How do we challenge it? Well, we're relying on our lawmakers to regulate it, first of all. That's going to take some time. From a public relations perspective, we're the front line in helping organizations build their reputation and do that so that they have the armory around them to protect them from attacks of misinformation. But, it's hugely challenging. There's absolutely no doubt.
So, considering that the industry is facing all these new challenges, do you think this would lead to a shift in expectations within the industry related to job roles and responsibilities? Would there be a greater focus on creative thinking and strategic advisory?
There's two things happening. There's a general trend towards that, regardless, with the fragmentation of media and social media. And we've seen through COVID, the function public relations elevated within management. That's related to my own area of study. So that's one thing that's happening. Second thing is, yes, undoubtedly, all the challenges that we've discussed aside related to ethics and legal. Generative AI is good at creating a first draft of something. It's good at conversation starters. It's good at, creative tasks where you're asking it to think on particular issues or come up with ideas and so forth. And so, it has the potential to impact certainly entry-level role within practice.
So, as you can see, this shift in expectations in job roles within the industry, do you also see a shift in the agency client relationship? Do you think that AI will have an impact on the relationship, making it less sustainable and more transactional?
It depends what the relationship is based upon, the need that the agency serves to the client. So a client will typically hire an agency because they need scale to deliver a piece of work, or they need a particular problem solving, and they don't have the expertise or resource internally to do that. I think you could argue both cases, actually, that AI creates the need for additional skills to help challenge some of the issues that you've raised related to legal, misinformation, and ethics. You could also argue, though, that there's a tactical element of public relations related to content publication. It could carve out from the agency role. So I could argue both of those.
Right. Thank you so much, Stephen, for joining the podcast today. Now, let's take a quick break before we are joined by our next guest. The next guest is Chris Norton, the founder and managing director of Prohibition PR. Prohibition is a Yorkshire-based PR agency that helps businesses with their PR needs. Chris is also a tech PR blogger who frequently produces content on the use of AI in PR practices. So Chris, in the context of running a PR agency, what are the most significant changes you have seen in your agency's everyday operations with the rise of generative AI technologies like ChatGPT?
So we've been using sort of machine learning technology in content marketing and public relations for 6-7 years. So we use tools like BuzzSumo and other databases to recommend content that will work on social media. What's trending now? It'll suggest content that we can use, and we'll use that. It's got machine learning in it to tell you what sort of content's working. We'll then use that for our clients' social media content strategies, probably give us ideas on what to write our press releases on and things like that as well. So if you can see what's been trending and what's been something useful, you can then use it. In terms of this technology with ChatGPT and where it actually you can ask it questions and then it writes your copy for you, the way to use that at the moment, I would say, is how we're using it is more in a planning way. So we might have some things that we're thinking about and we'll put in a brief into ChatGPT and ask it for some suggestions. But I'll be honest with you, it's 70%, 80% maybe at best. And then you have to go in and tweak it and make it to be good quality. It's still not ideal. It's really useful for ideas and planning ideas is what I'm trying to say. And I reckon to, like I say, summarize things, it's going to be really useful, but it's not quite there for human quality content. You know, you could say, create me 10 LinkedIn posts for a marketing director of da-da-da-da. It'll spurt them out, but they still need human adjustment. So it speeds processes up, but it's not, I wouldn't say it's the complete answer just yet.
So you just mentioned that these AI tools speed up the processes, which means that you can do a lot of tasks that you used to do before in a much reduced amount of time. So how do you now use that freed up time?
What we're doing with the spare time is we're just using it to, it's like any tool that you use, you just use it to speed up a process. So in this case, like I say, we're using it for planning. So the other week I had to create a project. I was doing a crisis management service and I had to come up with an idea for a product name. I said, I've got a crisis management service. It does this, this, and this. It's for marketing directors and PR professionals. Give me some suggestions for the name of the product. And it gave me 10 suggestions for name and it split them out. And I went, actually, a couple of them are pretty good. The rest of them are useless. So it saved me probably an hour's worth of time thinking about it and I used it. And so that's one example of where you might ask it for ideas and on planning. And then obviously the spare time you would then use to do the actual getting it right, the delivery and the execution of whatever the campaign is, because a chatbot can't deliver a campaign. It can't sell into the journalist yet.
Right. So, Chris, as a managing director of a PR agency, what are the steps you have taken so far to educate and train both your senior and junior level employees about AI and its impact to stay ahead of the game?
All I can say is you've got to keep on top of it. We're on I think the fourth iteration of it. It's ChatGPT 4, I think, that you're on. And if you pay, you might get access to the beta and things like that. What we do personally is I've asked people to play around with it and use it for different tasks. And then I've asked people to tell us how they're using it. And you really have to play around with the technology. So I did a workshop on it with the management, with everyone, actually. I did like a 10-minute, this is what it is, this is what it can do, this is how you use it. And I gave some practical examples of how I use it. Then I wrote a blog on how you can use ChatGPT in PR processes. That's the blog post I wrote, and then I sent that to everybody and said, look, you can use it for planning, for scoping out what you're doing. Yeah, and that's the message that I'm putting across. So webinars is what we're doing, and then just asking people for examples of what they use and showing how we're using it as a senior team.
So we have discussed the different ways in which AI has changed the daily operations within the agency. Similarly, do you see AI impacting the agency-client relationship? Do you think AI will make it less sustainable and more transactional?
I think it's the relationship. Is it transactional? No. I mean, people buy from people. They don't buy from robots, but they want tasks achieving. They want results. If you get results, it depends on how we're going to use it. Are we going to use AI to reply to emails on a day-to-day basis? It'll be interesting to see how Microsoft rolls out Copilot using the ChatGPT technology. Does it learn what you would say, and will it write out your response to emails, and then you just have to say that's fine? So if that's true, that is worrying, because then what human interaction do you have? But I do think humans buy from humans, and they'll still want face-to-face meetings unless they're AI generated, which will be interesting. So I just think it'll mean that you'll be able to do more for less money. If you want to work with an agency, it's usually because you want to work with the people and their creativity and how good they are at staying on top of things. So it'll be interesting to watch. I don't know. It depends on how good it is with email, because I haven't seen ChatGPT's on email. I mean, are you going to use it on every email that you ever do? It'll be interesting to see how people use it like that, because I don't think I'd want a robot to write all my emails. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I totally get what you're saying. I think clients actually want that human contact with an agency, because of the soft skills that people provide them. And as you said, these skills like creativity or even strategic planning and leadership skills, I think all these skills that people bring to the table is what set the agency apart from AI technologies. And for now, AI hasn't reached there yet. Anyway, thank you so much, Chris, for joining me today. With With lots of thoughts on the impact of AI on the PR industry, it's clear that AI has already begun to revolutionize the way PR professionals work. While AI offers both opportunities and challenges, it's ultimately up to practitioners to stay ahead of the game and leverage these technologies effectively for their benefit. As AI continues to evolve and become more sophisticated, the future of the industry seems exciting, and we can expect to see even greater impact in the years to come. Thank you all for listening to the podcast. I will see you in my next episode where we will explore yet another interesting topic. Until then, take care.